Hi, welcome to this module. We are talking about branding your company, setting logos, and a lot of people, they just don't think about that as they build their business. So this module is going to be great whether you've already set your brand, whether you're just starting out, or if you've already made a logo or you're refreshing your logo. Whatever that is, this will be a great module for you to watch and consider, because we need to constantly be updating and our brand, our logo, all of that, because as you know, as you build your business, things change. And so Jana's along with me today, and we're going to kind of talk through these things and how important, Jana, is branding from your perspective as business owner. Come on. Branding from your perspective as business owner?
Yeah, well, Lori, we just got back from a New Year, New You branding mastermind, which we're doing consecutively. So definitely you want to come to those because the takeaways are huge. And you want to do these consistently in your business as well, because as we know, technology changes, clients' needs vary here and there. There's new things that we can be offering, and we've got to stay relevant. Our businesses have to stay relevant. We've got to not feel stale, and you guys know what I mean. You can pull up companies and you're like, oh my gosh, when is the last time they updated their website or their logo or any of those things? Because just as furniture and colors and everything else go out of style, come in and out and change, and we've got to revise, we've got to refresh, revise, and reamp up some of the things so that we can get the attention of the millennials and the others that are coming up that are going to be using our services, and we're attracting. So I think it's huge, Lori, and you're brilliant at this.
Thank you. Well, I do think too, a lot of times our clients change over the years. So maybe we just start off doing occupieds, but then we're growing into luxury vacant stages or something to that effect. And so that's when you have to consider rebranding yourself or maybe changing out your logo. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, and we're going to go over a couple of slides with you that we went over at our New Year, New You. And again, definitely you want to be attending these masterminds because they're so insightful and helping you build your business. So colors and branding. So how to choose your color. Did you even know there was a reason behind colors? The do's and don'ts of choosing colors and what they're saying about you or your company, I think is really important. And so we're going to go here to my, where'd I go?
Yeah, it's funny, Laura, when we were sharing different logos of companies, right? And we were talking about what certain colors mean. And it's like, what emotion do they want to evoke on their client? They spend millions of dollars doing this research and, getting it just right. So third grade simple for many people. And they're able now to test market out some things. And then they find out what sticks, right? So I think it's a very interesting study when you really dive into it.
Yeah. So here, the next two slides are going to be just, and these will be available for you to kind of look and see what these studies have, what they've come up with from their studies and what different colors mean. And so I love that a lot of our home staging members have the green, I don't know, in their logo, because a lot of that, the greens, the blues, those all show like education. They promote growth, the environment, restored energy. So if you look at the top here, the black border says emotion, industry, and use too. And I think that's so helpful. Obviously, we know red, a fire department uses red, but red can also, be something that's a very powerful color. It says excitement, energy, passion, courage, and attention. That pretty much describes HSRA, so that's awesome. And as we grow our industry as a whole, maybe we can get on one of these lists, the home staging industry. But then education is really known for the blue. A lot of people will use blue if they're doing education. So I think that's really important as well. And then there's some other fun colors. Colors do matter in what you're doing. A lot of women will use purple because that's a courage color. But I always say if you're getting ready or you're revamping, always go with a neutral, like we have with HSRA, we have it with Model My Home. We have like black, white, gray, and then, just like when we do home staging, we do the and then, which is the pop of color.
Yeah, I think, Lori, the whites, the grays, the black, maybe some gold, that kind of anchor, those are anchor colors. And then when we can have a pop or a different variety with that, alone, those colors might either be very professional and elegant. However, if you want a little bit of a color, variety, I think that that's huge. So yeah, good stuff here.
Black and white is always timeless. So yes. I think that's important too, to know, and I know that, there's trends. I know there's a trend coming out that's neon, so that'll be interesting, So, but you always want to stay with your black and white and then add a little pop of color, which is second nature to you, because as stagers, this is what we do in homes, right? We keep it very neutral and then we build on that. So the next thing is there is a difference when you have your logo between logo and word art. A lot of companies will use word art only, or they'll use logo, or some companies, as you'll see in just a second, are using both together. And this is going to kind of tag who you are. And so your logo and your font matter. And then we're also going to kind of just talk about how to protect yourself once you've chose your logo, because that's really important as well. So a logo is a recognizable symbol primarily used to represent a business or an organization. Word art is text-based design that showcases your brand by using unique font pairings aligned with a certain way with your brand style. So there is definitely a difference, and you can combine those. It's perfectly okay to do that. We do that at HSRA. We actually have a logo with word art. And so it's okay to do either. It's just you need to decide which one works best for you. So here's some examples of some logos. So you see here, I think we all can recognize every single one of these. Chick-fil-A actually does their logo and their word art together. We have, everyone knows probably Chanel. I put Model My Home on there because they are mostly a word art, but this is their logo. It's the diamond with the M in the middle. And so we don't actually need words on any of these to tell us what it is. So if we see it, we see the apple with the bite out of it, we already know that that's Apple. So these are good examples of a lot of people in the home staging industry, they'll use houses or maybe a lamp or a sofa to describe what they have. So any comments on that, Jana?
Yeah, I think it's huge whenever you can, we've got our M there and it has a story. So anytime you can have a story, the swoosh has a story. All of those things have stories behind them. And so being able to be a storyteller, somebody from a one-dimensional can look at these and know what company they represent, but now to have a story behind it, I think is huge. So our Scriptina in there came from our entire wording was in that font, and it was too hard to read. So what did we do? We just took the Scriptina M and now made it a logo, and then very easy font. We were able to spell out Model My Home. And we've also have a black-white version of that too. So you can take your logo and just like these companies create a black-white, version of it as well. And that can be a stamp on something that is on your bags in your closets or just something fun like that. So I love it. I love that your logo can mean something. It doesn't have to be too complicated. And it's third grade simple. Those are the best logos.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Okay, so then our next one we're going to go over. One second. I keep losing it here. Sorry about that. Okie dokes.
And Laura, I think too, when people are coming up with their logo or even the naming of their company, I'm always a believer in, let your name tell who you are and what service you provide. So if you can get into that, that's also a really good thing. Now, some branding have, they're timeless. They're going to be around, and they've done enough marketing, and that's how we know who they are. But for us starting out, somebody might not know that you're a home stager or you're a designer or redesigner. So you may have to have your logo and then spell it out underneath it.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%, because I'm sure that Apple, we didn't recognize that Apple until years and years of them having it. So it's also equally important to not necessarily change your whole logo, but to allow it to evolve a little bit. Mm-hmm. So these are examples of word art. So each of them have different fonts. I put HSRA in there because we actually do have just the HSRA, but we added the sofa. And so showcasing your brand name by using unique font pairings that are aligned with your brand style. So I love Chick-fil-A. Chick-fil-A has their logo, which is the C with the little chick. It's fun, it's welcoming, it's inviting. And so whether you just see the C or you see the full word, you're going to know that that's Chick-fil-A. So these are actually the word art of all the brands that we had on the previous slide that kind of shows, like, you can either see the name and know it, or you can, see the logo. One other thing I like to point out is we know that Chanel is a very high brand product. And so if you notice the font difference between Chanel and Chick-fil-A, it totally tells two different stories. And so everything that they have done in their branding is two different stories. So maybe Chick-fil-A is your occupied staging, or just consoles or something like that. And then you're going to need to evolve into something like Chanel as you do luxury. So I think that's important to you don't want to change a whole bunch, but slowly evolve over the years, because you're going to change. Your business is never going to stay the same.
I think that's huge. I mean, we'll see some logos, and they kind of look not necessarily cartoonish, but they may look a little bit more casual. And so if that is your clientele, awesome. But if you're now trying to do luxury, to your point, Lori, it might be that your luxury division has a different look. Right? It's like the hotel industry. You can stay at multiple different Marriotts, but if you're staying at one of the resorts versus, the Residence Inn, then you're going to have two different experiences. And so those logos match the experience that client's going to have.
We hope you've enjoyed this featured module. To gain access to the full resource and over 150 modules just like this, click the link below.